So how do we differentiate transgender children from gender non-conforming children? And I think that this is, when we talk about assessment and diagnostics, this is really where it's important. And I also want to say what I said earlier, is that nobody really knows how to do this. So I'm talking about something, but it's not like I'm going to give you a litmus test to do that with, okay? But this is really important because children who are trans, like Jacob, and their families benefit from social transition. They benefit from puberty suppression and advocacy. And kids that are gender non-conforming, it's contraindicated to have them socially transition, and it's contraindicated to put them on any kind of puberty suppression. That is not what they need. What they need is to be in a supportive environment where they get to be boys that are not very traditional or girls that are not very traditional. So differentiating between gender nonconformity and gender dysphoria. Now, none of these, again, are diagnostic litmus tests. They're things to be thinking about. Is this kid suffering or struggling with gender dysphoria, which is internal? I don't like my body, I don't like being this way, I don't like when people call me she and her. Or are they struggling, the way my son was, with the world, saying boys should play sports and shouldn't be doing art. What's wrong with you? So that kid could be equally as upset, but there's a difference in what they're upset about. One is upset about the world, and one is upset about them. So one thing is anatomical dysphoria. Most kids, not all, who are trans are uncomfortable with their bodies. The little girls who are saying, when is my penis going to grow? Little boys who are saying, when am I going to turn into a girl? They're uncomfortable with their bodies. That it persists over time, again, it's not a, quote, phase. It's not something they just did one summer. It's something that persists over time. And there's a distinction between a social transition and a medical transition. And this is where the media, gets their underwear all balled up, okay? Is they get really confused about this. So a social transition has to do with age. So a social transition, socially can take place at any age. It can take place at 80, but it involves no medical interventions at all. And generally, a medical transition would not be considered to start until a child is in puberty or begins puberty. And at that point, we would start hormone blockers, which I'm going to talk about now. So a social transition means there's no medical transition, that a child can wear whatever clothing they want to wear. So we're not policing their clothing. It means a child can cut their hair any way they want. We're not policing their hair. It means a child can use a different name if they want. Generally, it's a more gendered name. Sometimes it's just a different name. I have a friend of mine who gave her child what was a lovely name. The child didn't like it and wanted to be called Charlie, and he's been Charlie for 10 years. It's nothing to do with gender, okay? So the child is allowed to say, I don't like my name, this is the way I want to wear my hair, please use this name. And the child can choose to use male or female or gender-neutral pronouns. I don't know very many little ones now that are using gender-neutral pronouns, but I suspect that will change as that becomes more a part of our cultural discourse. That's it. That's what a social transition is. There's nothing medical happening. There's no medication happening. There's really no doctors involved. You're letting the kid wear what they want, wear their hair what they want, use the pronoun they want, and use the name that they want. This is really not a big deal.